Testing, testing. Make Mikey's muted. All right, testing, testing. Um, I don't know why it's doing this. Why is my mic muted? Thank you. What is going on? Oh, what is going on? What is going on here? Give me a second. Let me hook up to the internet here. 'Cause this thing is streaming real bad. Just give me 1 minute. All right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let me see if I'm on. Let me see if I'm in. Like this. All right, testing, testing. All right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, I'm good. I'm good. I'm on. Let me see if I'm in. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. All right, let me hit up some more people real quick and I'll be moving forward. All right, testing. All right, testing. One, all right, 1, 2. All right, I'm good. I'm good. All right, we thank the Most High for allowing us to be here today for um, the day that we say is the Shabbat. We thank the Creator for um, His mercy, His grace, His forgiveness, His love, His kindness. Because without the Creator granting these things to us, the point is, where will we be? What the things that we will have going forward? So I thank the Creator for all that He has done and what He's going to do. So um, I want to kind of hit on some things today about um, the war between the male and the female. And the question is why? Why is there a war going on between the two? Um, a lot of us, we come to a point where we don't never sit back and ask ourselves these questions. We um, just simply just go forward and do the things that we've been doing all our lives, and we don't pay no attention to it. But a lot of times we need a refreshing course. Excuse me. We need a refreshing course at the things that we need to be paying attention to and focusing on, so that um, we can understand how to move forward if you are inside of a relationship. Um, Let me start off by just thanking the Creator. We thank the Creator for everything that He has done, the things that He is going to do. We thank Him for allowing us to come forth today just to hear um, some words of wisdom, some words of encouragement, some words of knowledge, and some words of enlightenment and discernment. And we ask the Creator to give us the more boldness within self to be able to realize what is the root cause, so as that we can pull it up and discard it and release it from us, so as that we can grow into the things that He has designed for us to grow in. So we thank the Creator for all, and I like to say, Salah, Salah, Hallelujah. Yah, hallelujah, Selah. Um, we all have a point in how we interpret things. And it's cool. It's cool, because a lot of us, we have certain points of how we interpret things in life. But one thing I do understand is when it comes to interpretation, you can't say what it is unless you specifically gain the understanding of how the creator has designed it. Your interpretation doesn't matter. We may think it does, but it really don't. The way we feel has nothing to do with what the creator has already spoken. But a lot of times we just go off of what we believe anyhow. We go off what we think, we go off how we feel. And it don't line up with what Taurus is. So without no further ado, we're going to get into it, the wars between the genders. And a lot of times we tries to base the war on many different factors, but the factors is not the point of why rather not this or that happen. The factors is rather not if I'm standing in line of Torah. See, what the creator designed is what he expect. Let me grab that scripture real quick. Um, just give me a second. Um, that is Isaiah 40 and 10. Isaiah 40 and 10, what it says is declaring the end from the beginning and from ancient times the things that are yet not done, saying, my counsel shall stand and I will do all my pleasure. So when we realize that whatever the counsel of the creator is, it's not going to change. It doesn't make a difference for how you get into your feelings. It doesn't make a difference for what you think is your belief. Whatever the counsel of the creator is, that's it. You don't factor into that if you're not lining up with what the creator has already declared. So we have to go back to the beginning to recognize excuse me, what the creator has declared. We have to factor these things in because a lot of us we have our own opinion and it mounts up to nothing. So in the beginning, we have to put it up, and this is what it says. I'm gonna start at chapter Genesis, the first chapter. Genesis, the first chapter, verse 26, 126. And it says, and the creator said, let us create man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowls of the air, over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. Period. He said, let us create man. Okay. Now, let's go to the next verse. Let's see who it is. Okay, verse 27. And the Creator created man kind in his own image. So he created mankind in his own image. In the image of the Creator, he created them. Male and female. He created them. Now, so is it saying that the male only has this responsibility? No, it's both male and female. They both have the same responsibility on this earth. And that's being dominated, that's having the authority over the creation that the Creator has created. Now, so I know some of y'all gonna disagree with that. But let's read it again. Let's go back to verse 26. Chapter 1, verse 26. And the Creator said, let us make man in our likeness, and let them have dominion. See? Them. Who is that? Male and male? No, that's male and that's female. Okay? Let them have dominion. Those two, not 3 or 4, not 5. He's saying them, male and female. He's giving them dominion. So when we try to make it as if more than the male and the female has dominion, and we're going to get into that male and female, but when we get to the point of we thinking that the male and female has dominion, or something else can come in between the male and female to expand the dominion, that's false. It's the male and the female, because verse 27 acknowledges what verse 26 is talking about. Verse 27 acknowledges what what verse 26 is talking about. Let me read verse 27 just one more time. So the Creator created man in his own image. In the image of the Creator created he, him, male and female, he created he, them. So when we talk about dominion wasn't given just to the man, the male. It was also given to the female. And I know some of you gonna have problems with this. You're gonna have problems with this because a lot of you think that the female is the subordinate to the male. No. Both of them have the same responsibility, but inside of that responsibility, their roles are different. It's supposed to collaborate to make a union, which is one. See, let me say that again. The male and the female role are the same in this creation, but their roles of how they function within that responsibility are different. But those two roles, ROLS, supposed to come together to collaborate as a union, which creates a whole for the purpose of the Creator's creation. They do not come together in respect of themselves, because you were created in the image of the Creator. You were not created in the image of yourself. But a lot of us, we look at the image of ourselves, not knowing that the image of how you are is the image that you were created to be in. So in verse 26, if you notice, the Creator made man and he gave man dominion. Man. That means man has control over everything under the sun, under the heavens, that is within the earth bounds. Anything that's within the earth atmosphere, within the borders of the earth, that's what man controls, supposed to have authority over. Anything outside of that, man don't have no control or authority over. Let me say that again. Anything that's within the earth atmosphere, within the boundaries of the earth, that's man and that's male and female's authority, meaning you control it. That was given to you. But anything outside of that boundary, you don't have no jurisdiction of or over. It don't belong to you. They do not. All right. And that's why in verse 27 it says, so who is that man that the Creator made? That's male and female. So male and female has that same jurisdiction of rulership together, not separate from each other, but together. And notice between both verses, man was created in the image of, meaning a likeness or resemblance. Okay? Now I want you to pay attention to that. A likeness or a resemblance is not is not different from the Creator. You were created to resemble the Creator, and the likeness is the quality of being alike. It's not saying that you are, but you are like the like of which you were created from. Like your child moves like you, your child reflects the image of you, but your child is not you. And we were created in the image of the Creator, but we are not the Creator. That's why the roles that we operate in as a male and a female is different. But the the purpose of the role of the purpose of the male and the female within this earth are the same. Okay. And that purpose is to reflect the creator's creation. It's as simple as that. We're not here to reflect our own creation. We're here to reflect the creator's creation. So when we are here to reflect the creator's creation, then we have to be very enlightened or knowledgeable of the roles that we're supposed to be playing. Then when you don't see the roles that you're supposed to be playing within the purpose of the creator's creation, then this is where the war comes in. And we're going to touch on that war just in a minute. We're going to touch on that war between the male and the female. Okay? Now, when the creator said, let us make man, that word make means asar in Phoenician Hebrew. It means asar, that's A-W-S-A-W, asar, which is a verb. That's a verb. That's a verb. That means something it's an action taking place. Okay? And for that it's an action, that means make means to fashion, produce, or accomplish something. But it also means to what? Appoint or ordain. So the creator is now appointing or ordaining man. He's appointing and ordaining man to be the reflection of him. Okay? He's not just giving man something and say, okay, here you go. No. Anytime when the creator puts something in your hand, it's supposed to reflect the creator, not you. It's supposed to move according to how the creator expect that thing to move. Okay? Because remember, you got to keep in your mind, we are in his image and likeness, not your own. So when we're talking about ordaining and appointing, that means he's given man a position. Notice I say man. Man is male and female. He's given them positions. And the first thing we'll say is, so the female is just like me if I'm a man, if I'm a male. Yeah, the female is just like you. The female is just like you. He's just like you. But do the female operate like you? The answer is no. The female do not operate like you. No. Same purpose, different roles. Okay? So he appointed man or ordained man for a particular purpose. Okay? Male and female, their roles, that's what he was appointing, their roles. And this is a lot of times where the clash comes in at, when the roles, when we don't understand or forget or don't acknowledge the roles that we're supposed to play in. This is what happens. This is what happens. This could mean, and I believe that order is being set among man. When he say, let us make man, he's setting order there. He's setting up order. He's not creating a man. He's setting up order. He's setting order up in order for man to rule like him. Okay? So when you look at chapter 2, and let's look at that real quick. When we look at chapter 2, Genesis chapter 2, let's start at verse 1. All right? Let's look at verse, let's start at verse 1. This is very significant. It says, thus the heavens, excuse me. It says, thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the hosts of them. All right? We have to pay attention to this. It says the heavens and the earth were finished. It says all of them. So there was nothing in the earth or the heavens that the creator needed to make. Every last one of them were finished. But on the seventh day, the creator ended his works, which he had made. Okay? And he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So notice what happened. The creator ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. So you got to pay attention to this. When we say those who are serving the Sabbath, one point is everything was ended. Okay? Then after it ended, then he rested. You cannot be in the Sabbath if you haven't ended your works. Okay? Let me say that again. You cannot be in the Sabbath if you haven't ended your work. And we're not talking about ending your work and then when the sun go down, you go back and continue your work. It's not what we're talking about. That's not the real Sabbath. This real Sabbath is when all your work has ended. We're not talking about death. When all your work, you don't have no more work to accomplish. That's the only time when you can enter into the Sabbath. So all this new moon stuff that y'all got going on, you cannot get to the Sabbath until all your work is ended. This is Genesis. You cannot get to the end of the Sabbath and rest in the Sabbath if you're still working. Let me read that again. Verse 2. And on the seventh day ended his work. not the sixth day. It says on the seventh day ended his work which he had made. And he rested on the what? Seventh day from all of his work which he had made. So tell me how we keeping the Sabbath if we still working? How's we keeping the Sabbath if we are still working? That's all I'm saying. I'll wait. Verse 3. And the Creator blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he has rested from all his work which the Creator had made. So it says, and the Creator blessed it the seventh day and sanctified it. He set that day apart because the seventh day marked the end of his creation. The seventh day marked the end of his creation. Period. The seventh day marked the end of his creation. Because that in it he had rested from all his work. He rested, which he had made. Okay. So if you're still working, you can't keep the Sabbath. See, the Sabbath goes from generation to generation. The Sabbath don't go from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They don't do that. This is a process. In order to get to the Sabbath, you have to go through a process. And the process deals with you creating within the creation that was given to you and how well you conduct yourself within that creation. This is how you get to the Sabbath. Let me case a point. Let me prove my point. So when you look at chapter 2, there's nothing else the Creator is creating. It's nothing else. You can sit there and say, oh, he's creating more creation. No, he's not. Scripture says he's not creating no more. So now you have to show me where the Creator is still creating after the seventh day. There's no more creation, or there's no more that the Creator is producing within this realm of creation. He's not. Scripture says that he's finished from all his work. So now that is why we can look at Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, verse 9. And let me grab that real quick. Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, verse 9. All right. Let me grab this real quick. Ecclesiastes 1 and 9. It says what? Let's pull it up. Just give me a second. What has been will be again, and what has been done will be done again. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? So, in other words, everything runs into a cycle. So when it runs into a cycle, everything it runs back, it runs back from the beginning and it runs into a cycle and comes back at the end and they go to beginning again. It's a circle. Everything runs into a circle. That's what we call the circle of life. So when we're dealing with the circle of life, this is what we literally are dealing with. We're dealing with the Creator's creation. That's why nothing on this earth is new. Everything is, when the Creator said it was finished, it was over. So you can't find no more, you cannot find anything else that the Creator is creating. That's why it says he's going to declare the end from the beginning. So when we say, oh, he have something he got going on, there's something new on the earth. There's nothing new on the earth that was created by the Creator. There's nothing new on this earth. Once when day 7 came, during that process, everything was finished. We're going to get there in a minute, but everything was finished. He ceased from all his work. That's how he ended up getting to a Sabbath. There was nothing else behind there was nothing else behind that the Creator created. So that's how he ended up getting to the Sabbath. You cannot get to the Sabbath while you're still working. All right. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 15. And this one, Ecclesiastes 3:15 says, what happened now has happened before. See, it's telling you what has happened, what you see happening now already happened before, and what will happen in the future. See, you see that? Past, present, future. What has what what will happen in the future has happened before. So in other words, if I see something happen down the line, it already happened before I saw it. So anything I see already done happened before I saw it. See, this is Bible. Because the Creator makes the same thing happen over and over again. Now, let me read it in the Bible. What exists has already been, and what will be has already been. For the Creator will call to an account what has passed. So you're not going to escape the circle of life. Everything that you think is new already existed before. And that's why the Creator is going to call and account the things that supposed to be that he created. He's going to call back in the account how it was created from the beginning. But a lot of us, we think that, well, things are, it is what it is, and I don't, I'm not going to be held accountable for it. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You will be held accountable for the purpose that was given to you. And you can step outside that purpose all you want to. It doesn't matter. You're going to be held, you're going to be judged for what you were put here for. All right? Let's go back. Let's go to Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. Let's go to the 6th chapter now. Ecclesiastes 6 and 10. So that's why I'm telling you, life is a circle. This was 6 and 10 says, whatever existed has already been named. See, the names was from the beginning. They may have messed up the names now. Okay, cool. But what already existed by name. And what humanity has been known. No one can contend with someone who is stronger. So let me read it in the Bible context. Whatever existed was named long ago. This is KJV because I know some of y'all love the KJV. Whatever existed was named long ago. And whatever happened to man is foreknown, meaning it was already out there. Man is not going through nothing new. This thing was already mentioned long ago because it's why? It's the circle of life. But he cannot contend with one stronger than he. And who is stronger than the man? The creator. Because the creator is the one that made you. You can't contend with the reality of the creator. You can't. So now, so that means what for man? They have to maintain order for the creator. In the realm, they were given power over, not separately, but together. So male and female have to hold power together. See, this is the dangerous point. Male and female supposed to hold power together, not separate. This is why we don't this is why we don't get to the full reality of self, because we don't understand the purpose and why we were created. Therefore, if you don't understand your purpose, then tell me, how would you understand your role? See, like and me don't matter. I'm just a vessel of clay. But what matters is, once when your time is up on this side, can I stand before the creator and manifest my purpose back before him? Or is it going to be a guessing game? So let's go back. Notice the word rested. The word rested is the word Shabbat. That's where we say happy Sabbath. That's the word Shabbat, which means to rest or desist from labor. Okay? We say, well, that means we don't supposed to do nothing. That don't mean that. That don't mean that. You know, I'm talking about like the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. No, we're supposed to be rested from all our labor. So once when you get finished working, you don't supposed to on Sunday or Monday go back to work. You can't keep the Sabbath like that because you're still working. Your work's supposed to be complete, ended. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be ended. So is that you can enjoy everything that you created. Tell me how can you enjoy what you created on one day? Tell me how. And then the next day you got to go back to work. Tell me how you enjoy that. Huh? Tell me how you enjoy the one day of Sabbath. See, one day I'm gonna break the Sabbath down to you. Because see, y'all don't understand what work is. Y'all come up with all these calendars, and the calendars is a bunch of BS. So you're supposed to be rest from all your labor, not when death happens. That's not rest because the scripture says the dead can't praise the creator, nor anything that have went under can also call upon his name. So all that when we say rest in peace, that's garbage. That's garbage. When you're resting from the Sabbath, that means everything about you has to end. You're not creating anything else. You're not creating. You're not creating anything else behind that. The Sabbath is only one day, and that day is eternal. That day is not one day and then you go back to work the next day. I'm going to get into a lesson dealing with the Sabbath because the Sabbath that we say we're keeping is not really the Sabbath. It's a make mention of a foreshadow of the Sabbath, but it's not the real Sabbath. So you can't keep. So when you say keep, your work should cease, it's not talking about. It's not talking about when you die. It's talking about when your labor cease. You have no more work. You can sit back and enjoy what you created. Okay. And notice it said in verse 2, it said he rested on the Sabbath. He rested on the Sabbath. And then it says he rested. In verse 3, it says he rested in the Sabbath. You can pull that up and look at it for yourself. Verse 2 says he rested on the Sabbath. How do you rest on something? It's because everything stops right there. Bam, it's over. It's nothing else. It's over. And once when you get to the Sabbath, you can rest in it. You see? See how that go? Once when I get to the destination, that's when I can be in it. You cannot be in the Sabbath if you haven't gotten to the destination of rest. I told you I'm gonna talk about the Sabbath, but not today. That's another topic for another day. This simply means you have to have a seventh day in order to enter into that seventh day. So once when you get to the seventh day, all your work must complete. It must be complete. There's no more work behind that. That's why it says he rested from all that he has done. There's nothing else that the Creator is creating. So why is that we're serving to a point, but we're still creating, but we're still calling that the Sabbath? No, it's only a rehearsal. It's not the real Sabbath. We say, oh, well, we can only keep the Sabbath when we're in our land. No, you can only keep the Sabbath when all your works are done. So the Sabbath has to be created from your works in order for you to be in the Sabbath, to rest from it. If you're not creating, then you're not getting to the seventh day. Now I'm going to show you that in a second. If you're not creating within the creation that was given to you, then you're not working towards the Sabbath. You're working towards your death. There's a difference between the Sabbath of rest and the day of rest, meaning your death. There's two different things. Two different things. Okay? Let's go back to the scriptures. Chapter 2. Go back to chapter 2. Give me a second. I'm just trying to pull it up. It says, start at verse 4. These are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Creator made the earth and the heavens. Now, once when it told you that the Creator ceased from all his works and he sanctified that day, he hallowed that day, he made that day holy. And after that day, the Creator is not even creating anything else after that. Because once after that brings judgment. Day 8 is judgment. Day 9 is judgment. Day 10 is judgment. Everything after day 7 is judgment. Okay. So verse 4 says, these are the generations of the heavens and the earth when they were created in the day that the Creator made the earth and the heavens. So now it's about to give you a rundown into the things that were created that we just saw in chapter 1. Okay. Verse 5, every plant of the field that before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For the Creator had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground. Now, if the man wasn't tilling the ground, if there was no man to till the ground, why? It's because the ground was dry. It was dry. Guess what? Plants can't grow off dry ground. Animals cannot get the vegetations or the fluids from a dry ground. Everything dies when it's dry. It was dry. So if you take chapter 1 and you look at chapter 2 and look at it before anything grew or anything committed within size of having babies and all that, there was no, it says what? There was no rain upon the earth. And there was not a man to work that ground. But mind you, the Creator already had the process in play. In order for these things to come forth and to take place within the purpose, within the purpose of the creation He created. But it says, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground, meaning the rainwater came up, boom, came gushing from the earth, and it watered the whole face of the ground, meaning the whole earth was getting rained upon it. Okay, so what happens when rain hit water? I mean, this is what I'm talking about, water. When rain hit dust, it turns into mud. Okay, it turns into mud. So the rain caused the ground to be wet, which in turn helped verse 7. He formed man from the ground, from the dust of the ground. So the question is, were we really created from dust? Or was it clay? Because chapter 2, verse 7 says we were formed from dust of the ground. You say, well, what this got to do with the wall? Just walk with me. Man wasn't formed from no dust. Man was formed from clay. Let's go to Jeremiah 18:3. Let's go to Jeremiah 18:3. Jeremiah 18:3 says what? It says, so I went down to the potter's house. Well, let me start at verse 1. This is the word that came to Jeremiah from the Creator. Go down to the potter's house, and there I will give you my message. So I went down to the potter's house, and I saw him working at a wheel. Verse 4. But the pot he was shaping from the clay was marred in his hand. So the potters form it into another pot, shaping it as seemed best to him. So let me go to verse 5. Then the word of the Creator came to me, saying, can I not do with you, Israel, as the potter does? Declares the Creator. Like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand, Israel. So what is he saying? The nation of Israel was created, formed just like clay into a potter on the wheel. The potter hands with the clay on the wheel. And that's the same thing with us. Let me show you what I'm talking about. That you were shaped for a purpose. You were not shaped to just be whatever you think you should be. There was a purpose in the reason of your role. Okay? Let's go to Jeremiah 4 and 6. Jeremiah 4 and 6. See, everything talks about that potter. Jeremiah 4, verse 5. I'm going to start at verse 5. Declare ye in Judah and publish in Jerusalem, and say, blow ye the trumpet of the Creator. Cry, gather together and say, assemble yourselves and let us go into the defense cities. Set up a standard towards Zion, retire. Stay not, for I will bring evil upon the north and a great destruction. Okay? So we're supposed to warn each other for our roles. Because you didn't create yourself. So we have to now understand why we were created. And that was to reflect the purpose of the Creator's creation. He gave you dominion, rather if you male or female. But when we go outside of our roles, then we're going to be put into that role of destruction. Let's go to Isaiah 29:16. Isaiah 29:16. It says, surely you turning of those things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. See, you turning those things upside down. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not. Can you say that the Creator never made you? That you made yourself? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? So when the Creator gave you a particular purpose on this earth, how is it that some people say, well, the Creator never understood me I was a woman on the inside, but then I want to be a man or vice versa. How the creator never understood you, but he created you. So the man who made a Buick car wanted to really make, he really wanted to make a charter bus. That's what you're telling me? The Buick inventor really had a charter bus in mind, but somehow he just made a Cadillac. Or uh, 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 a man who made a pencil really wanted to make a helicopter. You see how foolish and stupid that sounds? That sounds dumb. You cannot tell the creator what you were supposed to be in the role you were supposed to be in. The creator created you and he gave a role to the male and he gave a role to the female. Our jobs is to get to our rest, which is the Shabbat, together, not separate. Because everything runs off of the circle of life. It don't run in the middle. It runs around in the circle. And it goes back from when it starts, it goes all the way around life and comes back at the end. And the end is nothing but the beginning again. Let's keep going. Because we was made from clay, not dust. We was made from clay. Let's go to Isaiah 64 and 8. Isaiah 64 and verse 8. Let me start at verse 7. And there is none that calleth upon the name, that stirreth up himself to take hold of thee. For thou hast what? Has hid thy face from us, and has consumed us because of our what? Iniquities. But now thou art thou art our Father. We are the what? Clay. And thou art our potter. And we all are the works of who? His hands. Huh? You know why iniquity separated us from him? Because we're moving according to our own desires. We're outside of the reason of why we were created. We ignore the purpose of what we supposed to be doing. We ignore that purpose because we don't care. A lot of us ain't thinking about the circle of life. We're just thinking about, well, life here in general. But he's going to declare the end from the beginning. Meaning, when it starts at a starting point. Once again, I'm going to say it again. It starts at a starting point. It goes round through the circle of life, and it ends at a point. But that point where it ends ain't nothing but the beginning of when it started. Some of us make small circles in life. Some of us make medium circles in life, and some of us make big circles in life, and some of us make enormous circles in life. But it all depends on what? Am I operating within the purpose? And understanding and understanding the role that I'm supposed to be moving in. Or I'm just moving just for the hell of it. Which one? Which one? And don't care rather not what's going to come later. I'm just trying to fulfill what I could do right now. Let's go to Isaiah. Hold on, let me see what I got. All right. Um, let's go to Lamentations 4 and 2. We start at verse 1. How is the gold become dim? How is the most fine gold change? The stones of the sanctuary are poured out in the top of every street. I mean, it's just this gold is just it's just part of the earth, natural resources. But we put value on it and say, hey, that's what it is. Verse 2, the precious sons of Zion, comparable to fine gold. So he's telling you the sons of Israel is compared to fine gold. Okay. How are they esteemed in earthen pitchers? I'm talking about this body. How can we esteem ourselves in these bodies? How can we do it? Tell me, how can we do it? The work of the hands of the potter. If the potter did not create your vessel to be enormous, then you will never be enormous. And when you try to act outside of that realm, then that's the reason why you have conflict in your life. See, instead of us learning the roles within the purpose of why we were created, we tries to create a role. And it don't work like that. You can't create something. That's why I told you at the beginning, there's nothing new on this earth that's been created ever since the seventh day was declared. There's no new seventh day. It's only one. And either you're going to rest in that seventh day or you're not. The seventh day don't come over and over and over and over and over and over again. It don't do that. There's nothing but one seventh day. One. Okay. Let's go to Job 4:18. Job, the fourth chapter. I'm going to start at verse 17. Shall mortal man be just, let me read again. Shall mortal man be more than the creator? This is a question. Shall a man be more pure than his maker? How? Because the maker made you. So how are you going to be greater or purer than the one who made you? In order to understand in order to understand how you was made and the rank of your righteousness or purity, you have to hear the creator has to give you the standards. Because you didn't never make yourself. So if you never made yourself, then tell me the standards you were running by. Because you never created anything that was around you. Verse 18, behold, he put no trust in his servants, and his angels he charged with folly. You see that? The reason why the creator don't put no trust in the service because the creator already know the mindset that a lot of you all operate in. And you operate within the realm of wickedness. Verse 19, how much less in them that dwell in the house of clay? How about the ones that's on the earth in this body like me? Are you significant? Whose foundation is in the what? Dust. So what made it clay? At the beginning it was dust until it rained. Like we read in Genesis, it was dust on the earth until the mist came from off the earth, which turned the dust into what? Mud, and it brought up the clay. Which I crushed before the moth. So your foundation is dust. It's clay, which was the dust before it rained. Let's go to 33 and 6. Job 33 and 6. Let me start at verse 5. If thou canst answer me, set thy words in order before me. Stand up. Behold, I am according to thy wish in the Creator's stead. I also am formed out of clay. He didn't say dust, he said clay. He's formed from clay. Let's keep riding. Job 10 and 9. This is a good one. I'm going to start at verse 8. Thy hands have made me and fashioned me together round about. Yet thou doest destroy me. So verse 8 says, I was fashioned round about by the Creator's hands. Okay? Verse 9 says, remember, I beseech thee, that thou hast made me as the clay, and will bring me into the dust again. Because guess what? When you go back to the ground, your body, the flesh of you turns back into dust because there's no water there. So you're going to turn back into the dust. Everything started from the dust before it rained. Then when it rained, there was what? Water, which turned into mud and clay. Then when you die, you're going to return back to the what? Your body's going to return back to the dust because there's no water in that casket. You see how that go? That's the circle of life I've been telling you about. That's the circle of life. All right? So that word formed means human activity or divine activity. Okay? That's human activity or divine activity. Let's go back to Genesis. Because he said he formed you from the dust of the ground. He formed you from the dust of the ground. But all he did was form the human activity or the divine activity. Okay? When he formed that body, he put an activity in you. That's human nature and divine nature. That's a mindset. Human mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the creator formed man of the dust of the ground. We just sat there and went through that. You were not literally formed from dust, you were formed from clay because the rain was there and it watered the whole face of the ground, which turned that dust into clay. Because the potter cannot work with dry clay. Every time they mold that clay into an item, they have to make sure they keep that clay wet and moist, so as that they can shape it into the fashion or produce the outer form of what they're actually trying to produce. So it says, verse 7, and the creator formed man from out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life. And man became a living being or a living soul. Now we're talking about human activity and we're talking about the divine activity. Those are two activities that man, male and female, has embarked or has encountered or was put in them. Breathe means to blow. Into the nostrils is specifically talking about the face. It's not talking about your nose. It's talking about your face. He breathed, the creator breathed in your face. He was speaking anger in your face. Okay? Now I want you to understand it's very interesting when the creator breathed the blue in your face. Let's go to Job 33 and 4. Let's look at this real quick. Let's look at this real quick. This is interesting. Job 33 and 4. When the creator deals with you, verse, it says, I pray thee, hear my speech and hearken to all my words. Behold, now I have opened my mouth, my tongue has spoken in my mouth. Okay, I want you to pay attention because he's speaking the words, which has happened. Okay, we just kind of cut out a little bit, but I'm back. He's speaking the words. That's why it says, behold, I have what? I have opened my mouth, my tongue have spoken in my mouth. Because if you ain't got no tongue, you ain't gonna be able to decipher the words that you're speaking. And as verse 3 says, my words shall be of the uprightness of my heart. Okay? And my lips shall utter knowledge clearly. meaning that this is not something you're gonna have to try to figure it out. No, it says clearly. See, a lot of people don't like a lot of people who's up front. They want you to be able to just sit there and say, "Hey, they want you to BS them, play with them. They want you to tickle their toes." No, that's not what it says. You're supposed to speak utter knowledge clearly. Verse 4, the spirit of the creator has made me, and the breath of the Almighty given me life. So he says, the spirit of the creator made me. See? The spirit of the creator made me, and the breath of the Almighty has given me life. So Job telling you that the spirit of the creator made him, and the breath was giving him life. If thou canst answer me, set thy words in order before me, stand up. We already read that. So we have to be very careful. Let's jump down to verse 14. For the creator speaketh once, yea, twice, yet man perceive it not. The spirit of the creator speak twice. And a lot of us can't discern, we can't perceive what is being said to us. Why? It's because we have our own agenda. We're not flowing with the circle of life. We're trying to flow straight across to try to get things done, but we're not really flowing with the circle of life. Verse 15, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, in slumbering upon the bed, meaning they going to sleep. Man is going to sleep. Man that's going to sleep. Then he opened the ears of men and sealeth their instructions. Huh? You cannot get, if you're not open to the creator, you will never be able to get the instructions. And most of the time, 9 times out of 10, those instructions only comes through when you are sleeping. And it says that he may withdraw man from his purpose and hide pride from man. What he means to withdraw man from his purpose. So he's telling me he gave you a purpose and now he's trying to take you away from that purpose? No. It's telling you he's trying to withdraw you from the purpose of yourself. Because you're heading down the wrong road. You're fighting against your road that you were put in. Like the guard, the offensive tackle trying to play quarterback, and then they try to get the quarterback to play offensive tackle. That's out of position. But at the same time, you expect them to win the game. Help me figure that out. I want you to tell me, can you win the game if you're out of your role? Can you win the game for you being out of your role? Job 27:3. It says, "For the Creator liveth, who has taken away my judgment, and the Almighty, who has vexed my soul. All the while my breath is in me, and the spirit of the Creator is in my nostrils." Did you see that? Every time you breathe in and out of your nostrils, that's the Creator. That's the Creator. But the question is, are we paying attention to that? Or are we just simply going along with the narrative that people tell us? So man was given the understanding of judgment. That's what that breath in the face was for. It was representing judgment. And that's what makes man alive, is when he come to that point of understanding. See, some say, well, back then they didn't have the understanding. Yes, they did. They had the understanding of what the creator wanted. They had that. But the problem is, they don't pay attention to the judgment, because a lot of us don't care. Because it's not about whatever the creator purpose, it's about what I desire. So let's go back to the scriptures. Genesis, the second chapter. And it says, and the creator planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. So now we're getting ready to get into the responsibilities of male and female. Notice I want you to see something in verse 7 at the very end, and it says, and man became a living soul. That's male and female right there. But if you look at verse 8, it says, and the creator planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. Those are two different men right there. The first one was talking about male and female. That's why it says, and man became a living soul. But when he's breaking off the roles now, because that was the purpose in verse 7. But now, verse 8 is showing you now, splitting it down the middle to give you the roles, ROLES, of both male and female. And that's why it says the man whom he had formed. Okay? He formed man. He had formed the man. Because now we're getting into specifics now. So the man was given understanding of judgment. This is what makes man alive, is when you come to an understanding and you understand that judgment. See, this judgment is not something new to you. It's already there. And that's why verse 8 shows that the creator planted a garden. Plant means to establish. So the creator established a garden. And establish means to set up a system or set up rules on a what? Firm or a permanent basis. So the creator was establishing the rules within a garden. When he say he planted a garden eastward of Eden, no, he was setting up the boundaries of the rules that male and female is supposed to flow within. So that's what was taking place. He was setting up the rules for man, male and female to operate within. So the catch is, are we within these bounds? And that's why verse 8 shows that when he established, he set up the rules of a firm or a permanent basis. The garden is it's an enclosed place. It's an enclosure. And that means that any natural or any artificial boundaries limit access around a piece of land. So the Garden of Eden is an enclosed circle. It's an enclosure that sits around that garden. A lot of us, we don't pay attention to that. It's an enclosure. Meaning any natural or artificial boundary limiting access around a piece of land. So when he planted, all it's saying is he enclosed a particular area. He closed a particular area that only have access by you. This is what the Creator has done. Mm-hmm. And he put man. That word put means to set or appoint or assign. He's assigning man responsibility, or he's appointing man the responsibility over that enclosure. And that's why in verse 9 it says the man. In verse 8 it says the man. It didn't say man. It says the man, meaning it's being specific now. It's talking male. He's putting the male now in the responsibility of that order. So now you know the specifics. Now you know this is a specific man because it used the word the man. In verse 9, it says, let me read verse 9 for you. Genesis verse 9. And it says, and out of the ground made the Most High grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of the garden of good and evil. Let's look at this right here real fast. Let's look at this. Let's look at verse 9. And out of the ground made the Creator grow every tree that is pleasant. It's telling you the ground, when the ground became moist and when it became wet, that's when things started growing. And it says the tree of life also was in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Both of those trees were there. Now we're gonna talk about something because we got a few minutes left. We're gonna talk about something. So the Creator is now appointing or assigning positions now. He's assigning and appointing roles. And that's why I said, if you ever notice in this verse, the Creator made the trees pleasant for the sight. And number two, good for food. There was no reason for the enemy to trick the woman into looking at the fruit to be good for, to be wise and good for food and etc. There was no reason for that if that was already there. See, the tree of life is an objective, is an adjective, which describes something. So when the tree describes something, it's describing something for real. And what was it describing? The tree of life is an adjective which describes something, which is the tree of life is what? Vegetation. What happens with vegetation? Well, that means your crops are growing. That means your animals have enough to eat, or more than enough to eat. Springtime, certain leaves and certain fruits and etc. that grows that grows during that time of the season. It also lets you know that we were we had the what? The I'm trying to think of a word. We pretty much had all that we needed. We could tell the seasons by the trees and the leaves and the grass. Relatives, your family, your bloodline, your gene lineage will be in place. Renewal. Once when you get out of line, you have a place that you can go back to renew which way to get things back squared up. And community. This is what the tree of life is. It's flowing fresh water, vegetation, springtime, relatives, renewal, and community. You see? And the tree of knowledge is what? The tree of knowledge is perception, discernment. Good is what? With now, so now when we talk about the tree of knowledge, you're talking about perception. When you're talking about the tree of life, you're talking about what? You're talking about reality. Good is just simply this means the sense of agreeable to the senses or the higher self of nature. You know, a lot of people talking about I'm getting in contact with my higher self. That goes according to the knowledge of good and evil. Because on the flip side of that, evil is the unpleasant bad of its what kind land and water, of value, of thoughts, deeds, injury, calamity, and adversity. So you're going to have these things conflicting with each other when you go into that realm of knowledge of good and evil. Let's go to Proverbs 18 and 21. Proverbs 18 and 21. It says, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So we have to be mindful of the things we speak from our mouth. That's what the tree of life was there for, and that's what the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Those were choices of a different mindset that we could have flowed within. You either could have flowed within the reality or you could have flowed within the perception of reality. So when you decide to speak certain things, you're going to eat those fruits, rather if it's death or rather if it's life. Let's go grab another one. Let's go to Proverbs 21 and 23. Whoever keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from trouble. See? See how simple that is? Whosoever keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul and troubles. Let's go to another one. Job 32 and 8. But there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. There is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth them understanding. Let's grab another one. Let's go to Job 32. Let's go to Proverbs 15 and 4. A wholesome tongue tongue is a tree of life, but perversiveness, therefore, is a breach in the spirit. See, when we was given the spirit of the creator, we supposed to be speaking the life, the wholesomeness from the spirit of that's within us. But when you speak in discernment, you speaking good or evil. You're speaking a perception. 1 minute it might be good, it might sound good, it might be okay, good, cool, all right. But then there's injury that come with it. You see how that works? See, life, the tree of life don't have a flip side to it. It is what it is. But the tree of knowledge, that's a perception. Because you perceive something, but then it flips to something else later on. And this is what the creator was telling. He said those two trees, meaning those two decisions, is right there in that garden, that enclosure that I'm giving you. Is sitting right there. And read that again. Proverbs 15:3. The eyes of the creator. No, the wholesome tongue is a tree of life, meaning you're speaking truth. You're speaking life. You're not speaking from out of the what? The perception of what you think is good that's going to have a flip side that's going to injure later on. The wholesome tongue is the tree of life. The wholesome tongue is the tree of life. We think the wholesome tongue is, ooh, I got to be cool. I got to be real easy. What? No, wholesome tongue is you telling the reality of the truth. That's the wholesome tongue. But perverseness, therein is a breach in the spirit. That's a breach in the spirit because it's going to bring injury. It's going to bring confusion. That's what it's going to do. Let's keep going. Let's go to Deuteronomy 30:15 and verse 19. Deuteronomy 30:15. This thing want to act up. Give me a minute. All right, Deuteronomy 30, verse 15. See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil. See, that's what was set before us. Life and good, and death and evil. See? Jump down to verse 19. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and cursings. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live. Notice what he says, that both you and your seed may live. Meaning the word live means to rest in the Shabbat. Once when all your work is finished. Not when you die, but your work you're supposed to complete certain tasks in life and enjoy. And you're supposed to pass that on to your next generation. So as that they can get to the Shabbat as well. But we don't want that. We want to keep people into the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So it's that one day is good and the next day is injury. One day is complaining and wickedness, then the next day is good. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, like a roller coaster. Let's go to Jeremiah 1 and 5. It says, behold, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. What you mean he knew thee? And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. That means you had a purpose. That means Jeremiah had a purpose before Jeremiah ever came out and stepped foot into this dimension. Nobody gets to this earth without having a purpose. And the creator's not creating anything new in you. That's why you're sanctified before before you came here, before you got here. You were sanctified. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So you already know your purpose is already flowing when you're born. The problem is, do you understand it? Do you understand your purpose? Let's go to chapter 29, verse 11. Do you understand your purpose? Because before he formed you, he already gave you your purpose and your role. Jeremiah 29, verse 11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Creator, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. So our thoughts supposed to be, see, the Creator already know what He gave you and how He thinks towards you. Rather, if you are that fuel of fire, meaning you are that destruction, or rather you are what? You are the one that He's given the word to. The Creator already know you. It's not a new thing that that is here. Okay. Just about finished. So the man's commandment was after knowing the choice was to dress the garden. Let me go back to the scriptures. Let's go back to Genesis. See, after when the choices were there, it was your job now was to dress the garden. It was to dress it. Let me read the scripture. That's Genesis, the 2nd chapter. That's verse 15. And the Creator took the man, that means male, and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. See, you did not come here without knowing, without having a mission or a purpose that you're supposed to be fulfilling. So let's get into man's purpose. He said, your job is so pretty much your job was to take care of the garden. See, it was to dress it, and to dress it meaning to what? Work out and till, to serve the garden. Like Levitical service. You were supposed to protect the garden like the Levitical priesthood did for sacrifice. That's what you were supposed to have been doing for the land. You were supposed to make sure that the land was operating and stayed operating when it was put in your hands in Genesis 1:26 and 27. Full circle, full circle, full circle, full circle. And keep it, meaning protect, keep watch and ward. You know what a ward is? When you care for something, you're supposed to care for the land. You're supposed to watch. You're supposed to be a watchman over the things that you were given. You're not supposed to let those things get out of balance. You were supposed to observe and preserve. So pretty much your job was to take care of the garden like you supposed to do you to yourself. You didn't supposed to be out. You didn't supposed to let things get out of line in the garden, as well as you didn't supposed to let things get out of line of yourself. So that's when times comes from you, from what you created. See, so when time comes for you into what you created, can you rest with the creator? Or are you going to continue to keep working until you die? Can you go into a rest with the creator, or are you going to die trying to flow into another role by not knowing your actual purpose? Because that's our job. We're supposed to create within the creation that was given us, but we were supposed to stay within those guidelines. And when it comes to the end with us, are we getting to the point where it's that we can now have a Shabbat? We can sanctify the seventh day. But when you choose the opposite, you will die. When you choose the opposite of your role, you will die. Meaning what? Meaning you're going to die as a penalty. You're going to lose out in life. You're going to lose out of self. You're going to perish as a nation. Family is going to be torn up. Bloodline is going to be deceased. You're going to die prematurely by neglecting what? Wise moral conduct. You're not going to pay attention to that because you're outside of your role. This is something to chew on just for this week. That's why verse 18 says it's not good. Let me read verse 18 for you. Genesis 2:18. You're going to be slapped out of your role. So verse 18 says what? And the Creator said, it is not good that the man, notice it keeps saying the man, meaning the male, should be alone. I will make him an help meet for him. Okay? What help meet? What help meet? Let's go back. That word alone means separation. It's not good for man to be separate, to have a separation, or apart from, or to be the only. It's not good for that. That's why he made male and female. It's not good for that to be taking place in that male's life. And that word should, he said it's not good that a man should be alone. And that word should means to what? Exist. It's not good for a male to exist or to happen or take place or to come into being what? Separated or only or apart from. Apart from what? Exist in what? Exist in his creation without having help. Why am I saying that? Because the word God is plural. So if God is plural, that means man cannot operate singular. He has to have a council, which is male and female. And their purpose is the same. Their roles are different, and it's supposed to come together collectively to make a union. Huh? And the word help meet is the word succor, meaning an assistant. And support in times of hardship and distress. Give assistance or aid to, protect or restrains. This is the female's job. Her job is to help the male get him to the Sabbath. Her job is to help him get to the Sabbath. Keep him in the tree of life mindset. She's supposed to also protect him from all those negative devices that can cause him to not come to the Sabbath day. Anything outside of this is the tree of knowledge of good and evil. That's what this is, family. This is part one. This is part one. Anytime when you see the operation that a female is not helping the male get to the Shabbat,